I want to start with a story about a friend of mine. Let's call her Emily. Emily is one of those people you look at and think, wow, she's got it all together. She's smart, she's creative, she's got a degree from a great university. And when she walks into a room, people naturally pay attention. But what a lot of people didn't know was that Emily had been battling self-doubt for years. A few months ago, she got offered the chance to present her team's project to the executive board at her company. On paper, this was an incredible opportunity, exactly the kind of moment that could put her career on a faster track. But instead of feeling excited, Emily's first thought was, why me? I'm not the best person for this. They probably just picked me because no one else was available. The night before the presentation, she sat at her kitchen table with her laptop open, slides ready, and a pit in her stomach. She told me later it felt like a physical weight pressing down on her. Her brain kept feeding her every reason why she would fail. You're going to forget your points. You'll look nervous. They'll realize you don't really know what you're talking about. And here's the thing, Molly did know her stuff. She had led the project from day one. She had solved problems nobody else on the team could figure out. She had earned the respect of her colleagues. But when self-doubt takes over, facts don't matter. Logic doesn't matter. The story you tell yourself becomes more powerful than the truth. The morning of the presentation, she almost called in sick. That's how much self-doubt had convinced her she couldn't handle it. But she pushed herself to go, mostly because she didn't want to let her team down. She walked into the conference room with sweaty palms, a shaky voice, and a million anxious thoughts. Something interesting happened, though. About 5 minutes into her talk, she noticed people nodding. Along, one of the board members leaned forward, clearly engaged. She saw her boss smile when she explained a particularly complex solution. Little by little, the fear started to loosen its grip by the end of her presentation. She wasn't thinking about whether she was good enough. She was just sharing what she knew, and she knew a lot. When she finished, the room applauded. The CEO even told her that was one of the clearest explanations we've heard in a long time. Emily walked out of that room feeling lighter than she had in months. But here's the most important part, she told me later. You know, the hardest part wasn't doing the presentation. It was fighting through the voice in my head that said I couldn't. And that's the thing about self-doubt. It's not just about what you can or can't do, it's about the story you believe about yourself. Change that story, and you change everything. Manlut self-doubt. We've all felt it, that nagging inner voice that questions whether we're capable, smart, or worthy enough to succeed. It can creep in quietly or hit you like a wave, making you second-guess your choices, downplay your achievements, and sometimes walk away from opportunities before you even try. At its core, self-doubt is a lack of confidence in your own abilities, decisions, or worth. It's not just modesty. It's a persistent feeling that you might fail, even when your track record shows otherwise. You might second-guess a decision you've already thought through, convince yourself your success was just luck, or avoid a challenge because you think you're not ready. Everyone experiences moments of uncertainty, But for some, self-doubt becomes a constant roadblock that shapes the way they live and work. It's important to understand that not all questioning is bad. Healthy self-reflection helps you learn and grow. The difference lies in the questions you ask yourself. Self-reflection asks, what went well, and what can I improve? Self-doubt asks, am I even good enough to try? Self-reflection leads to action. Self-doubt keeps you stuck. So, where does self-doubt come from? Often, it's rooted in past failures. If you've had a setback, especially in a public or high-stakes setting, your mind may hold on to that memory and replay it every time you face something similar. Upbringing plays a role too. You may have internalized the belief that nothing you do is enough. In today's world, social media amplifies self-doubt by creating endless opportunities for comparison. We measure our behind the scenes against someone else's highlight reel and forget that we're not seeing the whole picture. Then there's imposter syndrome, the belief that you're a fraud and it's only a matter of time before others find out. It's common among high achievers who underestimate their own abilities. Perfectionism feeds into all of this by setting impossible standards and criticizing ourselves for falling short, creating a cycle of fear, procrastination, and more doubt. The impact is significant. Self-doubt can cause you to miss opportunities, like applying for a job or volunteering for a project that could change your career. It can lower your performance because anxiety disrupts focus, creativity, and memory. And it takes an emotional toll, draining your energy and, over time, contributing to stress, burnout, or depression. The good news: self-doubt is something you can work through. Keep a journal for a week and write down moments when doubt appears, what you were doing, who was there, what you were thinking, and how you reacted. You'll start to notice patterns. Once you see them, you can begin to challenge the thoughts that fuel your doubt. When you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, pause and ask, what evidence do I have for and against this belief? Then replace the thought with something grounded yet encouraging. I've done similar things before and learned from them. I can figure this out. Another powerful tool is to build a proof portfolio. Create a document or notebook with your past successes, skills you've developed, and challenges you've overcome. When doubt creeps in, review it. This isn't about ego, it's about having tangible reminders that you've faced challenges before and come out stronger. Start small and win often. Break big challenges into micro steps. Public speaking terrifies you. Begin by speaking up once in a small meeting. Gradually build up to larger audiences. Confidence grows through action, not avoidance. Seek constructive feedback from people you trust. Sometimes you're too close to your own story to see your strengths clearly. A mentor, friend, or supportive colleague can offer perspectives you might not see on your own. Practice self-compassion. If a friend came to you with the same challenge, you wouldn't tell them they're hopeless, you'd encourage them. Learn to speak to yourself the same way. Limit social comparison by unfollowing or muting accounts that trigger feelings of inadequacy. And remember, you don't have to feel ready to act. Confidence often comes after you take action, not before. 4. Lasting change. Focus on building long-term confidence. Commit to continuous learning so you have constant proof that you're capable of growth. Celebrate progress, not just big wins. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and challenge you to grow. Maintain your mindset with daily habits: gratitude, journaling, meditation, affirmations, or even regular exercise to clear your mind. Self-doubt doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. The goal isn't to eliminate it completely, but to recognize it for what it is: a thought, not a fact, and to choose action anyway. Think of one opportunity you've been avoiding because of doubt. Today, take one small step toward it. Send the email, sign up for the class, volunteer for the project. Confidence is not the absence of doubt. It's the decision to move forward despite it. And every time you do, you prove to yourself that you can. Self-doubt might seem harmless at first, just a way of keeping yourself grounded or being realistic, but when left unchecked, it slowly shapes every part of your life in ways you may not even notice. In your career, it can cause you to miss out on opportunities that could have moved you forward. You might decline to apply for a promotion, avoid high-visibility projects, or say no to challenges simply because you don't feel completely ready. Over time, this habit keeps you in the same position while others advance. Not necessarily because they're more talented, but because they were willing to step into the unknown. Even when you do take on tasks, self-doubt consumes your mental energy. Instead of focusing fully on the work, you're busy second-guessing every move, slowing your progress, stifling creativity, and keeping you from developing new skills. The effects are just as strong in your mental and emotional life. Constant self-questioning puts your nervous system into a low-grade state of stress, as if you're always preparing for something to go wrong. This constant tension can lead to anxiety, irritability, and exhaustion. It also chips away at your self-esteem, convincing you that the doubts in your head are accurate reflections of your abilities. Decision-making becomes paralyzing. You hesitate, over-research, and seek endless reassurance, sometimes missing the chance to act entirely. A simple idea, like starting a side business, can turn into years of planning with nothing to show because the fear of imperfection keeps you from launching. Relationships and social connections don't escape the reach of self-doubt either. Networking requires confidence, yet doubt makes you avoid introducing yourself to new people or sharing your achievements. In group settings, you might speak less, hedge your words, or downplay your contributions, leading others to assume you have less to offer. Relying too heavily on other people's opinions becomes a crutch, creating unhealthy power dynamics where you let others make decisions for you. Even your physical health can suffer. The body reacts to mental stress much like it reacts to physical threats. Chronic self-doubt can disrupt sleep, weaken your immune system, and cause persistent tension or headaches. It can also make you avoid physical activities you'd like to try, further limiting your overall well-being. The The most damaging impact, however, unfolds over the long term. Every opportunity you skip in your 20s or 30s changes the shape of your career and finances later on. Regret accumulates. Not from the times you tried and failed, but from the chances you never took. Your identity narrows as you stick only to what feels safe, and you lose the chance to discover talents or passions that could have deeply fulfilled you. Even when life looks fine on the outside, self-doubt exacts a hidden daily toll. Constant mental load of fear, the emotional drain of needing to prove yourself, and the inability to fully enjoy your wins because you're busy questioning whether you truly deserved them, unchecked. Self-doubt isn't just a personality quirk. It's a lifestyle limiter. It reshapes your choices, your relationships, your health, and the future you're building. The sooner you recognize its costs, the sooner you can treat it as a challenge worth tackling head on. So how do you get over it? The first step in overcoming self-doubt is awareness, learning to recognize when it's happening in real time. Start by paying close attention to the situations that trigger your inner critic. For 1 week, keep a small journal or a note on your phone where you record the moments you feel doubt creeping in. Write down what you were doing, who you were with, the exact thoughts running through your head, and how you reacted. Over time, you'll begin to see patterns. Maybe doubt hits hardest when you're in front of authority figures, when you're trying something new, or when you're about to be evaluated. These triggers are not signs that you're incapable. They're simply points of awareness where you can prepare to respond differently. Once you can spot self-doubt, the next step is to challenge it. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," or "I'm not ready," pause and ask yourself, what evidence do I actually have for this belief? What evidence do I have against it? Often, you'll realize that your fears are based on assumptions, not facts. Replace those thoughts with more grounded, encouraging statements, such as, "I've handled challenges like this before, and I can figure this out again." This isn't about blind positivity. It's about creating a more balanced, truthful perspective. A powerful tool for building this balance is something I call a proof portfolio. Create a dedicated document or notebook where you collect evidence of your abilities, past successes, positive feedback from others, challenges you've overcome, tasks you've mastered. On days when doubt feels overwhelming, read through this portfolio as a reminder that you've faced uncertainty before and come out stronger. This tangible proof can disrupt the emotional spiral of self-doubt. You can also shift your relationship with confidence by starting small and winning often. Break big, intimidating goals into smaller, manageable actions. If public speaking terrifies you, start by speaking up once in a small team meeting. As you rack up small wins, your brain starts to associate action with capability rather than fear. Momentum, not motivation, becomes your ally. It's also important to seek constructive feedback from people you trust. Sometimes we are too close to our own stories to see our strengths clearly. A mentor, colleague, or supportive friend can give you perspective on what's working and where you can grow. The key is to choose people who will be honest, but also invested in your success, not those who feed your fears. Alongside feedback, practice self-compassion. Most of us are far kinder to friends than we are to ourselves. Someone you cared about came to you with the same doubts you're feeling. You wouldn't tell them they're hopeless, you'd encourage them and remind them of their strengths. Learn to extend that same courtesy to yourself. Finally, limit the fuel sources of your doubt. This often means reducing comparison triggers. Unfollow or mute social media accounts that consistently make you feel less than. Replace passive scrolling with activities that actually add to your self-worth, such as learning a skill, exercising, or spending time with people who uplift you. And remember, action is the ultimate antidote to self-doubt. You don't need to feel completely ready before you begin. In fact, confidence is often the result of action, not the prerequisite for it. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you teach yourself that you can act in spite of fear. Overcoming self-doubt is not about becoming fearless. It's about learning to live with the presence of doubt while refusing to let it make your choices for you. When you can recognize it, challenge it, and move forward anyway, you take back control over your story, one decision at a time. Building long-term confidence, overcoming self-doubt in the moment is a powerful skill. But the real transformation happens when you build the kind of confidence that lasts, confidence that doesn't evaporate the first time something goes wrong. Long-term confidence is not a fixed personality trait. It's a set of habits, systems, and mindsets that you nurture over time. It's like physical fitness. You can't go to the gym once and expect to stay in shape forever. You have to keep showing up, even on the days when you don't feel like it. The good news is that the more consistently you work on your confidence, the easier it becomes to maintain. One of the most effective ways to build lasting confidence is through continuous learning. The more you expand your skills and knowledge, the more evidence you collect that you are capable of growth. Learning can happen in many forms: formal education, professional training, online courses, reading, or even hobbies that challenge you in new ways. For example, if public speaking is an area that triggers self-doubt, joining a local Toastmasters group not only gives you practice, it surrounds you with others who are on the same journey, normalizing the learning curve. Every time you learn something new, you send yourself a message: I can grow. I can adapt. I'm not stuck where I started. Equally important is the practice of celebrating progress, not just results. Too many people with chronic self-doubt dismiss small wins as insignificant, waiting for a big success before they allow themselves to feel accomplished. But confidence grows in the space between major milestones. If you spoke up once in a meeting when you usually stay quiet, that's progress. If you applied for a job even though you weren't sure you'd get it, that's progress. By acknowledging these moments, you train your brain to notice and value your own courage. One useful tool is a victory journal, where you write down at least one thing each day that you did well, or one fear you faced. Over time, this journal becomes a personal archive of your growth, and on hard days, it's a powerful reminder that you've been building strength all along. Another pillar of long-term confidence is maintaining a strong support network. Confidence is easier to sustain when you're surrounded by people who believe in you and challenge you to grow. These can be mentors, friends, colleagues, or communities that share your values and encourage your progress. The key is to be intentional. Relationships should be a source of mutual support, not one-sided validation. Seek out people who will celebrate your wins, give you constructive feedback, and remind you of your abilities when you temporarily forget them. If your current circle leans toward negativity or criticism, it may be time to expand your network to include more uplifting influences. The people you spend the most time with shape your mindset more than you realize. The fourth, and perhaps most essential element, is mindset maintenance. Confidence is not something you set and forget. It needs regular upkeep. Daily habits can serve as anchors to keep your mind oriented toward possibility instead of fear. One powerful habit is gratitude journaling, where you write down 3 specific things you're grateful for each day. This trains your focus to notice abundance rather than scarcity. Another is mindfulness or meditation, which helps you observe your thoughts without automatically believing them. Affirmations can also be effective, but only when they're believable and grounded in truth. Instead of repeating, "I am the best at everything," which your brain might reject, try affirmations like, "I am capable of figuring things out," or "I can learn from whatever happens today." Even physical habits, regular exercise, good sleep, and healthy eating play a role, because they strengthen the connection between your body and mind. Reinforcing a sense of vitality and capability, it's also important to reframe failure as part of the process rather than a verdict on your worth. When you understand that mistakes are data, not definitions, you free yourself from the paralyzing need to be perfect. For example, if you launch a project and it doesn't go as planned, instead of thinking, "I'm terrible at this," shift to, "That approach didn't work. What can I try next?" This mindset turns every setback into an opportunity to build resilience, which is the backbone of lasting confidence. Finally, think of confidence as a renewable resource that you recharge regularly. Set aside time to reflect on your growth, refresh your goals, and connect with the people and practices that keep you grounded. Over the years, these habits compound. The person who once hesitated to speak up becomes the one leading the meeting. The person who feared trying new things becomes the one others look to for courage. That shift doesn't happen overnight, but it happens inevitably for those who commit to the work. Long-term confidence is built through a combination of learning, celebration, connection, and consistent mindset care. It's about creating a life where self-doubt still shows up now and then, but it no longer has the power to decide what you do. When you maintain these pillars, confidence becomes less about feeling invincible and more about trusting yourself to handle whatever comes next, and that is a far more powerful kind of strength. Conclusion: your next chapter starts now. Here's the truth. Self-doubt is never going to vanish completely. It's part of being human. That voice in your head will still whisper, "What if you're not ready? What if you fail? Difference the thing that will set you apart, this that you won't let that voice decide the size of your life. Think about it. Every great achievement you've ever admired, every person you've looked up to, every breakthrough that changed the world, none of them happened because someone waited until they felt perfectly confident. They happened because someone chose to act despite the uncertainty. They stepped forward without knowing exactly how it would turn out. And in that step, they discovered their strength. You have that same strength. You've had it all along. Moments you thought were too small to matter the day you spoke up in that meeting. The time you tried something new. The way you got back up after things didn't go your way. Those moments are proof that you can do hard things. Confidence isn't something you're given. It's something you build one decision at a time. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect version of yourself. That perfect version? It's a myth. Version of you that will change your life is the one who starts now with whatever you have. Wherever you are, take the opportunity you've been hesitating over. Send the email. Make the call. Step into the room. You might stumble. Yes, you might feel awkward. And among them is one crate, Myrene parate, scraped, karat, made, scrab, kakaka, made, correcta, corretic, correcta, correcta, rugged, correcco, swatted, corrard, Karigra kur worserai karasanagwa kawakwarser kakakurt kanerks kakaki kasat kikinvent kis week ataita and every time you show up, you take back ground from the part of you that wants to play small. Years from now, you will look back on this season of your life, will remember the moment you decided to stop letting self-doubt hold the pen and start writing your own story. And I promise you, when that day comes, you won't regret the times you tried and fell short. You'll regret the times you stayed safe and silent. So step forward, speak up, try the thing. Let your life get bigger than your fear. Self-doubt may ride in the passenger seat, but it doesn't get to touch the wheel. You do, and the road ahead is wide open. This is your invitation. This is your moment. Go take it.